Most people don't miss life-changing opportunities because they're lazy. They miss them because they look too small to matter. And by the time they realize it, it's already gone. It doesn't look like a breakthrough. It looks like extra work, like something beneath you, like something you can come back to later. This is the story of George, a man who almost ignored the one small moment that quietly changed everything about his life, simply because it didn't feel like enough. Every morning, George woke up at 6:30, not because he wanted to, but because life had slowly locked him into routine. Alarm, ceiling, silence. Then the same thought, every day. Is this it? George wasn't failing. That was the problem. He had a stable job, administrative assistant at a logistics company. It paid the bills, barely. Nothing was terrible, but nothing was moving. His savings stayed the same. Some months, they went backwards. He stopped checking. The numbers weren't shocking, just quietly stuck. And worse than the money was the quiet realization that he hadn't felt proud of himself in a long time. At 34, George felt like life had paused without asking him. He used to have plans. At 25, he talked about starting something of his own. At 28, he still believed it. At 30, he stopped saying it out loud. By 34, he stopped thinking about it entirely. Wanting more had started to feel embarrassing. So he adjusted. Be grateful, he told himself. At least you're stable. And for a while, that worked. Until stability started to feel like suffocation. One Tuesday afternoon, something small happened. His manager, Raymond, paused by his desk. George, oh, you're good with spreadsheets, right? Yeah, I guess. There's a small issue in the warehouse system. Messy data. Nothing major. We just need someone to clean it up. George nodded. Raymond shrugged. It's not a big deal. Honestly, it's just extra work no one wants to do. You can look at it after your regular tasks, if you're interested. Then, almost as an afterthought, there's no extra pay. And just like that, the moment passed. George turned back to his screen. His answer was immediate. No. That night, George lay on his bed, scrolling. But his mind kept drifting back. Messy data. Nothing major. No extra pay, he exhaled. Pointless. Why take on more work for nothing? It wasn't a real opportunity. It wasn't what he imagined. It was just extra effort. And he was tired of effort that led nowhere. That's what he told himself. But the truth was quieter. It wasn't the effort he was avoiding. It was the possibility that this could be something, and he'd miss it because it didn't look like enough. A thought lingered. What if this is where it starts? He shook his head. Yeah, right. On Wednesday, George came in and saw something unexpected. Someone else was working on the system. Raymond gave it to me, his co-worker said. I'll try to fix it. George paused. For a second, just a second, something tightened in his chest. Oh, okay, he said casually. By afternoon, the system was still a mess, half done, more confusing than before. I'm dropping it, the co-worker said. Not worth it. And just like that, the opportunity came back. But this time, it felt different. Not small, not meaningless, just unfinished, waiting. That evening, George stayed back, not for the company, not for the pay, just because something in him wasn't settled. He opened the system. At first, frustration. Messy, inconsistent, annoying. But slowly, patterns, connections, possibilities. He fixed one section, then another. Time passed, and for the first time in a long time, he wasn't watching the clock. He came back the next day, then the next. No extra pay, no recognition, just quiet progress. But something had changed. He wasn't doing it for them anymore. He was doing it because something inside him had woken up, something he hadn't felt in years. Engagement. 2 weeks later, Raymond called him in. "I've been hearing things." George froze. Things? It was the system. Clean, clear, efficient. "Did you do this?" George nodded. "Yeah, just organizing it." Raymond leaned back. "This is really good." George didn't respond. He didn't know how to. No one had said that to him in a long time. A few days later, the regional manager visited. They had the same problem across multiple branches. Raymond showed them George's system. They were impressed, very impressed. Within a month, George was asked to help other departments, then other branches, then officially, a new role. Systems coordination, better pay, more responsibility, more visibility. But that wasn't the real change. The real change had already happened, weeks earlier, on a quiet Thursday evening, when George chose to stay back and take seriously something that didn't look important. A year later, George sat in a different office, not perfect, not luxurious, but his. And sometimes, he thought about that Tuesday, about how close he came to ignoring it, to going home, to doing nothing, to never finding out what he was capable of. Because here's what nobody tells you about opportunity. It almost never looks like opportunity. It looks like extra work, like inconvenience, like something you can ignore. And the people who change their lives aren't the ones who waited for something big. They're the ones who paid attention to something small and stayed long enough to see what it could become. The opportunity didn't change his life. The moment he stopped ignoring small things, did. If you saw yourself in George, this channel is for you. Subscribe for stories that don't just entertain. They change how you see your life. Tales by Cathie. Stories that stay with you.